Love the music.
We are back on the Morning Brew. Isn't our new music great?
Love it.
We're having fun this morning with it. This is my friend Danny Lopez, who's back in town. Good to have you back in Albuquerque after being away for a couple of years. You made the trip all the way to D.C. and came back.
Did.
And now you are at the Hotel Andaluz.
I am.
And you were there, and you were like, okay, man, I met this awesome chef, and he's working at the Hotel Andaluz, and you said James has this really cool thing he's doing with sherry. And I was like, great, I don't know anything about sherry.
Perfect.
So you guys, you're having sherry tastings, and it's kind of become your thing. Am I right, Chef?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of our main things that we like to share with people, our passion for sherry and Spanish food.
This is great. So what do we have here, and what are all these bottles, and how do you incorporate it also into the menus at the Hotel Andaluz?
Yeah, well, it really incorporates some of the basic ingredients, the kind of the building blocks of Spanish food, which always leads you to great Spanish wine.
Of course.
Which to me always leads me to great Spanish sherry. Mm-hmm. And these sherries are designed to go with food. These foods are designed to go with sherry, so they really should be hand in hand. And I run into a lot of people that say, oh, I don't like sherry.
Right.
And I always want to take them by the arm and say, come taste with me.
Right.
Because usually once they do taste and have the right foods with the right sherries, they have this great experience and they say, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that's what we like to do.
Well, I wouldn't even know how to pick a sherry. Like, you go to you see the, at the store, you'll see the rows of sherries, and I just look at them mystified. Like, I don't even know. Like, I kind of know my way around the wine shelf.
Yeah.
And you can kind of say, okay, that's the 12-year Scotch, but you don't, what's a good way to spot a premium bottle of sherry?
Yeah, it's a little mysterious because for a long time it was kind of your grandma's old drink that was dusty in some kind of cask.
Right, and she'd have
she would drink it privately because it had a high alcohol content, and grandma liked to get a little buzzed.
Oh, is this, are we talking like liquor content, or are we talking more like just fortified wine content?
It's fortified wine, so, they get up to
14, 15%?
14, 15, 18%, some of the higher sherries, so you got to be careful with them a little bit. But also the people that say, I don't like sherry, they're thinking of some kind of sweet sherries that were really popular in England and the U.S. in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Yeah. So we like to say, this is not your grandma's sherry. This is the real sherry that they drink in Spain. Most of them.
And all of these are all bottles from Spain.
They're all from a certain region of southern Spain.
And when I think of sherry too, I know it is a wine.
Yeah.
But is it more like a grappa that they make from other parts of the grapes, or is it more just a fortified part of the wine?
It's just a wine that is fortified. So the whole grape is crushed, and then
they use the stems and the seeds,
fermented,
and everything.
Total fermentation where all the sugar is turned to alcohol, so it's super dry.
Oh, that's very
cool. And then we fortify it and raise the alcohol level by adding some other alcohol spirits.
Wow. So how do you pair a menu with that? I mean, that sounds pretty intense. It's got to be flavors of food that are also really intense. Like, I'm sure this jamon here is like...
Yeah. Well, you could try a little if you'd like. But
I would love to. Thank you, Danny.
We start the pairing with something really dry, like a manzanilla sherry, which is a super dry, almost salty, kind of briny. And you need some kind of food that has some salt content to really get the flavor of the sherry. This sherry is almost too intense to drink without food.
Is it this one that's kind of
clear? Yeah, it's really clear.
And this is you said this is fragile wine too.
This is a live yeast that grows on top of this sherry. So it's served chilled, it's served fresh, and it has a shelf life of about 2 days after you open it. And it's really lively and fresh.
It smells
strong. Super dry.
Smell that. That's
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, I need some.
Of course. Is there a way to drink sherry too? Like you think about wine, you want to stir it around, you want to look at the legs, and you want to look at you want to look at the wine and see what it see what it is.
Should. A lot of times in the past there were these little tiny sherry glasses,
right?
And really in Spain they moved away from that. They wanted to be a wine where you can swirl a little bit and get the aromas are one of the best parts of the sherry. You get all this nose and these great aromas that make you want to eat food.
So you pair this with jamon, you have some olives here
something
that look
salty
wonderful.
Like that. It's kind of the starter sherry, the start of your meal. A lot of times you'll have it with a little fried seafood, little tapas, which we specialize in, the little dishes.
And so you've been putting together menus that are some sherry tasting menus too. Is that what you won the Hot Plate Award for? Because you guys just got Albuquerque the Magazine Hot Plate Award.
We were just honored last night. So
Congratulations!
It was a big deal for us.
So you had a late night now, an early morning.
Yeah. It's hot.
We're used to it in the restaurant business.
Right. So what menu item did you win for the Hot Plate Award?
This is a dish called bruschetta de la boca. I have 2 restaurants in Santa Fe. La Boca is
that's one of the
our
old standards in
flagship
Santa Fe. Yeah,
restaurant, and we named the dish after that restaurant because it's the most popular dish in that restaurant. And we have Taverna up in Santa Fe. So when we started Mas about a year and a half ago,
Mas is the name of the restaurant at the Hotel
Right,
Andaluz.
thank you. I brought that dish with me from La Boca, and people are loving it here as well. And it's really a simple dish with olive oil toast with a fried egg on top, but the toast is then cooked with mushrooms and cream and manchego cheese and some truffle oil.
Wow.
And so you get this great, when the egg yolk breaks, it's a fiesta.
All the flavors come right out.
It's outrageous. So people love it.
Is there a specific sherry you want to pair with that?
That is great with a Oloroso sherry, which is a little deeper aged, kind of this color
the
sherry.
darker.
And these sherries all are wines from the same grape, but different aging processes make them different colors, and different flavors start to come out of these wines.
How did you get into sherry? I mean, what's your thing? Like, I know a lot of people, it's easy to get into wine.
Yeah.
It's easy to get into beer. It's easy to get into whiskeys and scotches and things like that. But sherry seems like a whole other level of tasting.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little niche, but I love the Spanish wines. Always had a passion for Spanish culture and food and wine. And when I got to go over there, I was in the sherry country in Jerez, which is way down in the south. And I just got turned on to it. And the whole process, there's a lot of history, beautifully aged oak casks, and these towns smell like these glasses.
Oh, that's amazing.
Smell as they're aging these sherries by the shore.
That's very cool. Danny, I know you and I were talking that you're kind of a newbie to sherry also. And what have you found? What's like some of the stuff that, as somebody who's just getting into this kind of tasting, what should you be prepared for?
Well, I think, I was talking with Chef earlier, and I think, we're ecstatic to have him here in Albuquerque. I mean, I think the fact that he has 2 wildly successful restaurants in Santa Fe is, just his celebrity itself is wonderful for us. And I think it spoke a lot to our ownership to seek out somebody of his stature to come down and to kind of educate us. And I think, I'm just like you. I'm starting off down that sherry road, and we're excited to have him on board. And like you mentioned, he's bringing in a lot of these sherry tastings and wine pairings. So we're excited, for these type of activities.
Well, this reminds me, the flavors in this remind me of, I think, what I know as, you just buy it in the bottle that says martini. Am I on the right path if I'm thinking about it, or is that just that I'm blending all the coffee I've had all morning with the sherry?
I think it's the coffee, the lights possibly.
The lights are...
But it's more like almost like you'd see people enjoying port. The way it's aged. A lot of these sherries, they're mixed vintages, so they're aged in these casks for 30, 40, 50 years, and they just have a lot of history. And they used to age the sherry by sending them out on ships on these long voyages, and they figured being out at sea for months or years at a time
toss it around in the
gave
barrel,
it a nice age and kind of briny flavor from the sea, and then it would come back and then we'd drink it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what do we have here on the table? We got all kinds of great stuff. And how do
we like to pair the first sherry, the super dry manzanilla, with the salty foods like we did.
How does this just grab some of this jamon?
Yeah.
I'll just take a little bit
The
of this
jamon
here.
is so it's
This is
again
great. This
some
is-
of the classic dishes. This is just ham, as they call it in Spain, but it's more than that. It's
I can
aged
see what you
18
mean here.
months. It's a beautiful mountain
It's a cured ham. And I can taste the very salty ham, which is it's got a real salt to it.
And it has fat, which
and
you
it-
need with that super dry sherry.
It just soaked up all the flavors.
Yeah.
I see exactly what you mean.
And they go hand in hand.
And
When we
then-
get to the little more aged, so that
Some of these darker wines.
the darker ones, you want to have some of these almonds from, they're Marcona almonds. They're a nice little rich, fatty almond.
Very
and
cool.
that sherry starts to get a little almond aroma in the nose. And
Just take a couple of these
yeah.
here. Let's see
great,
here.
great,
Oh,
great ones.
actually, those are great on their own. I could eat those all day.
Yeah.
And then,
So-
yeah, we can get into one more pairing, well, 2 more pairings, but this is manchego cheese, the classic Spanish sheep's milk cheese with the Oloroso sherry. So
Very
this is
cool.
kind of aged, like has kind of dried fruit flavor. So you get that
So-
dried fruit and cheese combo.
We've only got a couple seconds here,
Yeah.
Chef. So I know that Mother's Day you're having a big
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And is it going to be sherry tastings and all this Mother's Day too? Or
We're
is that a
not
special menu?
featuring the sherries, but on Mother's Day. But we are having a great buffet in the lobby. Beautiful, historic hotel setting that we have our big events in. You can come bring mom and have a great meal.
That sounds like a plan. Well, save me a seat. I'll take my mom. We'll make a day
Come on
of
over.
it. And I'm going to try some of these things. And I got to go. When is the next sherry tasting?
We're laying out the menu now for the spring and summer, so we'll be, asking people to check our website, come into the hotel, come in for brunch, come in for dinner,
HotelAndaluz.com?
HotelAndaluz.com.
We'll get the word out. We'll let you know.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Thanks
In the
a lot.
meantime, let's see what some of these taste
All
like.
right,
Here.
salud,
Cheers,
guys.
guys. Salud,
Salud.
absolutely. All in the morning, brew with friends. Oh, great days.